Hey guys, this is Brooke from Growing Up Vegan, and this is the second episode, so I'm super excited to continue making videos and getting used to using iMovie, which is like so hard for me to do, but it's been an learning experience. I have my raw cacao smoothie that I actually got this off of the Pure Food and Wine book. I believe it was Living Raw or something like that. I forgot what it was called. It's an awesome, awesome book. Um, and yeah, it was written. It was like a big black book. It was written a couple years ago, and I've made this smoothie like every other day. Like I absolutely love this smoothie. It's so good. Just amazing. I actually added peanut butter, organic peanut butter to this, and that just takes it to another level. But sometimes you need a little kick to get you through your day, especially a Monday. So anyway, the topic of today's video is Meatless Mondays. So my sister, she's my Irish twin, and she's actually a vegan as well. She's been a vegan for 5 years. Her name is Tara. She had sent me a text message, and I have like a super prehistoric phone, so sometimes I don't get text messages if there's like no storage or anything like that. It's like super corny, but I love my phone, so I'm not getting rid of it. But she had sent me a text message that there was an article written by the Huffington Post about comments that were made by Commissioner of Agriculture Todd Staples about the Meatless Monday program. And they weren't very, very nice comments. They were pretty aggressive, pretty bold comments about this program. And I thought it was really interesting. And she had wanted me to read the article for a few days. And I've just been crazy busy. But when I sat down and read it, I was interested. I was interested in learning a little bit more about why he had such a stance on this program that's a very non-aggressive program. It's a very, you know, very good program that I think is really important, especially since we are facing an obesity epidemic with children, especially in America. Now, I always hear like on YouTube videos, they say Australia, England, there's a lot of obese children there, but we have an issue, and it's a lot of people want to blame the parents. I personally, I think a lot of it has to do with media. Truthfully, I mean, it's another reason why we don't even have cable because it's just I feel like kids are so like sucked up into these commercials. But anyway, so I had read the article and I had come up with literally like 4 or 5 pages of just like ranting notes. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have a channel that I'm ranting. I really want it to be educational because I can rant. Believe me, I'm a master ranter. But I kind of wanted to just leave that for maybe other videos, like few and far between, nothing too crazy, especially since this is my second video. So I had like limited my notes, and I wanted to kind of hit some topics, some points about this article that was written. So pretty much, yeah, if you guys don't know what Meatless Mondays is, it's a program that was implemented by the Johns Hopkins University as kind of like an awareness campaign about more ethical eating practices, and that was to be distributed in cafeterias, I believe in Texas. So, but it's quickly gaining steam. They're doing it across the country. I think in California they even have an all vegan menu or an all vegetarian menu, and they don't serve meat or anything like that, which is amazing. I wish they had something like that in New York, but not yet. Um, so yeah, so pretty much what it is, it's an awareness campaign that gains steam, and it is 1 day a week where cafeteria personnel they leave meat off the menu for Mondays. So that's why it was dubbed Meatless Mondays. Now, children can still bring in a meat meal, like I guess a ham sandwich or something like that, but they are not serving meat that day. Now, it's not a vegan-driven program, so they do have dairy, they have pizza, they have like burritos, I guess with cheese on it, things like that. But it is certainly a healthier alternative, and it's definitely a step in the right direction. So I know there's a lot of activists that are like, it's not good, they should eliminate all of this, and they should, and I completely agree. I don't believe that they should be serving that as well, but I think progress takes time. You can't jam an idea so fast onto people because then they deem it as threatening and aggressive, and then they won't follow it. So I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. It's a very non-aggressive campaign, and it's kind of weird that somebody would have such aggressive keep using aggressive, but it's a good word, that they would have such bold statements to make about a program like this. So yeah, Todd Staples believes that Meatless Mondays is an agenda being pushed onto our impressionable young children by animal rights activists to stop the consumption of meat throughout the country one Monday at a time. And it's like, all right, guy, like, it sounds like a bad, like, quote, one Monday at a time, these animal activists. But it's like, first of all, there's no animal activists standing in the cafeteria, hurling carrots at your children to eat, and showing them graphic pictures of animals being slaughtered. That's not happening. And to say it's even an animal rights issue is silly. It's not. Granted, to promote more compassionate eating, but I would see if it was 5 days a week and there were like PETA activists wearing big costumes of animals like inside the cafeteria. I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it's very pushy, and I think it would alarm kids and scare them more than educate them. So I think that to say that that this is it's an agenda and it's pushing it on our children is silly, because think about all of the things that are really being pushed onto our kids. We have the media, we have music, we have TV, we have violent video games, we have all sorts of things that are being pushed onto our kid. And I don't hear this guy talking about that. I hear him talking about one day that there's no meat on the plate. Like, anybody that I know that eats meat doesn't even eat meat that much. They don't even eat. Now, granted, I know a lot of homesteaders, people who grow their own food and things like that, and they grow their own animals, and they're a lot more compassionate with their animals. So, and they don't even eat meat like that. And it's like, what, your kid has to have a steak every day in school, no less? You know what I mean? Like, where are the carrots? Where's the salad? Where are the coconut milk yogurts and things like that? Like, that's, I don't hear him, saying that, promoting vegetarian rights. What did I mean when I was a kid? I had a fight. I remember I was in high school. I had a fight to get peanut butter and jelly on the menu. Literally had to fight. And it had nothing to do with peanut allergies. It was just, they're like, oh, you can't have tuna fish? I'm like, no, I don't eat tuna fish. I'm vegetarian. And they're like, oh, well, can you have this? Can you have that? And I'm like, no, because that's meat, or that has eyeballs in it or something like that. Like, it was ridiculous. And I knew that I had rights to a vegetarian meal. So no one was fighting for me other than myself. But I guess, I guess there was no money to be made in the peanut industry, so no one really cared about giving me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But anyway, and also, what this program does, it opens up a whole door of possibilities to children very young that probably don't eat a lot of the things that the cafeteria is serving anyway. Like, there's a lot of families that probably make the same thing, every few days, and, this just kind of, like, opens up the possibilities to children that you can eat a rainbow of food and not hurt your animal friends. So that's just kind of, my thoughts on that. Another quote that he made was that restricting a child's choice to not include meat is irresponsible and has no place in our schools. Now, it's interesting that he said that, because it's a school. So you go to school. I know I send my kids to school to learn. Now, if you go to school, if you send your kids to learn as well, which I'm sure everyone else does, they go into a classroom. They learn in the classroom. They have a teacher. They learn different subjects. You know the whole drill. But why does that stop in the classroom? Why not extend that learning to the cafeteria as well? See, again, I see no problem with it being on a Monday, and it's not even like it comes with pamphlets. You know what I mean? Like, so I would be totally open to the pamphlets, because I think that children can see where their meat comes from, things like that. I mean, I think that'd be very educational. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, I mean, to say that it's no place in in our schools. I mean, it's to learn. Children want to learn how to eat better. Children should learn how to eat better. Children want to be healthy. Children want to be happy. They don't want to be, teased, bullied, unhappy, have diabetes at a young age. And it should not stop in the classroom. They should learn, different things that are out there. Because there are people that, I get people that tell me now, I have a bunny, and I make jokes. I'm like, oh, wow, I really do eat rabbit food, because this bunny cannot stay off my plate. She jumps on my lap. She tries to eat my food all the time. But people really think, like, all vegetarians and vegans eat are, like, rabbit food. Which is true. We do. Because we happen to have the same diet. But there's a plethora of things that you can make as a vegetarian. I mean, like, sometimes I get jealous of my kids, because I'm like, I did not have that when I was your age. Like, when I was your age, I had to take the meat off or not eat at all. And, it was just... yeah, it was just crazy. But there's such a world of possibilities. I mean, I saw on my newsfeed the other day about, like, this block vegan cheese, And I knew they had cheese, but like this is like aged cheese, and there's like a vegan butcher opening up near me, and I'm like, get that? Like really? Like that is amazing. That is so amazing. Now I'm not all about the processed foods because I was a vegetarian in a time where I had to eat a lot of vegetables, or else I wouldn't get nutrients, and I couldn't fill up on like tofu or anything like that. But I think it's awesome that they have it. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I always promote it, over our animal friends. But anyway, so just to go back, yeah. So I just want to see if I have any more comments. Yeah. So I mean, I do believe that it's definitely important to know, for our children to know where the food comes from. Now, I actually one second, I had a good point. Yeah, I actually call it the Santa Claus effect, right? So Todd Staples, he wants to block children from, I guess, learning about vegetarianism. He feels like it's an activist thing, which it's not. Again, very non-aggressive program that's in schools, one day a week. But I guess when you're working at the finances, that's a seventh of someone's income. So that's another paragraph. But I call this the Santa Claus effect. Now, kids are grown up to think that meat comes from somewhere it doesn't. A lot of kids don't make the association. It's so divorced. If you have a burger, right? You see the burger, it's all pretty. Well, I don't think it's pretty, but it has like the lettuce, tomato, the bun. It's all dressed up. It looks different than a cow. Like if you put the two together to a child, they wouldn't know like okay, they wouldn't think anything of it. But they have like in their mind that meat doesn't come from a cow or it comes from a cow. But like I know from when I was a child, it always racked my brain because I remember I had conversations with people about where meat comes from, and it was amazing where people thought it comes from the store. It's like, oh, but where does it come before that? It's not just packaged off of trees. There was always questions that I had as a kid, but there were so many people that just wanted to believe a certain thing. Same thing with Santa Claus. Now turn the volume off if you celebrate Santa Claus. But same thing with Santa Claus. They want to believe that a man comes, gives them presents, just like they want to believe that a cow comes, gives them meat. That's not what happens. And then as you get older and you start asking questions, wait, Santa Claus isn't real. Wait, so the cows get killed? The cows, do they just jump into your plate and cut themselves up? And like, how does that work? Because I don't want to promote that. You know what I mean? I remember as a child, I was like, oh my God, I can't promote that. And then, the internet wasn't really like crazy until like, I think like 97 or something like that. And that's when, they didn't even have like the pictures. It was all forums and weird stuff. It was totally different than it is now. But I feel like it's so like bombarded now. But I didn't see images of like this, like even getting older and going online and seeing the images always triggered something in me. I was like, oh my God, it just always bothered me because I knew what it was, and but anyway. So I think for children, to learn about meat in schools, I think it would be important. But I could see the sensitivity in telling a child where their meat comes from. So what I would always recommend, and I always recommend these to friends that want to become vegetarians and vegans and want to bring their children on board, I always recommend just teaching the child about the animals that we consume in the society. Now we consume, in China, in Japan, in Thailand. I mean, they eat dogs, they eat cats, and I don't see that being any different than eating a cow or a chicken or a pig. I believe they're all blended together. To me, they're all animals. They all want to live. So, like I know some people that are like, oh my God, those people eat cats. But it's like, yeah, but you eat pigs, and pigs are amazing animals, So it's like one is not better than the other. But what I would recommend is always introducing your children to different farm animal lives. I mean, show them the personality, show them like things that like pigs love belly rubs, and chickens love to be picked up and pet and things like that. So just teach them, and it kind of starts building character in their minds. So when the next time, when they start getting a little older, or maybe if you talk to them, tell them what their meat is, they'll be like, oh, I like pigs, I don't want to eat the pig. Things like that. And you do it gingerly, because if you do it in steps, it'll work. If you do it all at once, they'll, even adults, I see it all the time. They'll get angry with you. They'll feel like you're judging them, and they won't. Just for the spite of not wanting you to be right, they won't look into your lifestyle. So that's just like my thoughts on it. So the whole Meatless Monday thing, it would be awesome if it was like all vegan. I mean, that's like my idea. Okay, and this is coming from a vegan. Been a vegan 13 years, vegetarian my whole life. I would want no meat in schools. I would want children to learn about where meat comes from. I would want them to learn about local produce, organic, the importance of organic. Fighting against Monsanto. Keeping them at bay. and things like that. But that's obviously, it's not my world. We share it together. And I have my bunny running around over here somewhere. But we share it together, and these are the steps that we have to take to ensure that, you know, vegetarian movement is gingerly accepted in society and pushed on, and not pushed on to be gingerly put onto people, so they don't resent it. Now, upon looking, and what the article, the Huffington Post at the end of the article was talking about Todd Staples' relations with the cattle industry. Now, as part of his job, he's actually the head of. I don't want to say this wrong. Yeah, he's he's in charge of the agency that administers school lunch programs in Texas. And with that very heavy title, he has received at least $130,000 in campaign contributions from beef and ranching companies and interests since 2010. So, Mr. Staples, to say that you're not being, you know, lubed up by the beef industry is silly. Money talks, and it speaks many different languages. So it makes sense that he would be aggressively against taking meat off the plate one day a week, because you multiply that, and it all comes down to the coin. It always comes down to the coin. Follow the studies, follow the behaviors of the person speaking out boldly against something, and it's always going to come down to the coin 9 times out of 10, unless they're insane and they just want to be radical. It'll always come very Westboro churchy, but that's a whole other thing. But it always comes down to the coin, and it's interesting. What bothers me so much, and we all know how congressmen are. We all know, I'm sure there's good ones, there's bad ones, just like anything else. But we all know how. Make sure there's no bugs in my smoothie. We all know how they are, and we all know that they're very influenced. And for people to say that he's not being influenced by the beef and dairy industry to speak out against Meatless Mondays is silly, because that's obviously not the case. He obviously is. And maybe he does genuinely believe that children should have, 2 to 9 servings of beef every day. Maybe he does. Who knows? Maybe that's his honest belief. But don't act like your interest, like your opinion is in the best interest of the children, because it's not. It's clearly not. And you want to protect the integrity of your finances, of your relationship with the beef and cattle industry. So by doing so, you would speak out against a campaign that would otherwise save many, 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 many animals, and also help children change their eating habits. Even I'm a big believer, if a person learns about the animals that they're eating, they either will go vegetarian or they'll eat very, very little of it. So that's my belief on it. Now, for the coin, for the coin, you want to sell out that much. It's really that much of an issue for you. And now I'm curious to just take a peek at their lunch menu, just to see what it would consist of. What do you have? Sirloin steak. I don't know the other ones. Pork chops one day, hamburgers the other. I mean, really, wow. That's just insane. So anyway, so my advice would be, with articles like these, is to always look deeper. Now, I cannot stand when someone in a power position like himself puts a very public article like this out, or makes an opinion piece about something like this, because it really gives vegans a bad name. A lot of people won't even read the article. They'll just see Meatless Mondays is this, Meatless Mondays is that, animal activist, PETA. They'll throw all these terminology in that people already have negative associations with. And they won't even read the article. They'll just be like, oh, I don't want my kid to partake in Meatless Mondays. Oh, I'm going to send my kid with a ham sandwich to school. And it really bothers me, because it ruins the message so much, especially with a campaign that's not even meant to be a vegan campaign. It's not even meant to do that. It's an awareness campaign. And they use their terminology while describing it very, very carefully, because it's not an animal activist. It's not funded by any big animal corporations. It's merely an awareness campaign. And for him to say otherwise really grinds my gears, because that's not the situation. But I would just wish that, people wouldn't attack such it's a lifestyle, it's a diet. A lot of people look at veganism and vegetarianism as a diet. I personally look at it as a lifestyle. That's why growing up vegan was my channel name, because my parents didn't raise me vegan. In my heart, I was a vegan. you know, and I believe it's just a compassionate way of living. So that's what bothers me about that article. You know, it's we need to build each other up from things like this because it just tears us down. He just wants to tear it down because it's all about the coin, it's all about the finances, it's all about his bottom line. So please, Mr. Staples, do not act like you care about the children because clearly it's to protect your own financial interests. So if anybody has any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I will be doing another video in the next few days. And if you have any suggestions for me, shoot them on my Facebook page, leave them in the comments, and I will go over them for you. I do want to have like what's in my lunchbox type of video. I always see like what's in my fridge or what's in my pocketbook, but not really what's in my lunchbox. So I think I'm going to do that. Again, YouTube is just like a fun thing for me, but my passion has always been veganism. I do have a business that I work with. That that I run, and that's my business, but YouTube is just a way for me to communicate with other families and just kind of bridge upon helping them make the step to eliminating all products out of their diet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and stay tuned for another video coming very soon. Okay, thanks guys, have a good one. Bye bye.